Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Thriving in a Crisis with Andrew Joblin. Today, you are listening using your computer speaker system by default. You have the opportunity to submit questions to Andrew by typing them into the questions pane on the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time. Andrew will address these during the presentation. To give a brief introduction on today's presenter, Andrew Joblin is on a mission to create a wave of wellness around the world. And even more than that, he has the ambitious goal of engaging the ungageable, moving the unmovable, and motivating the unmotivatable towards making better choices and living the life of joyful longevity they are born to live. Andrew played professional Australian football for 7 years. He has 30 years experience in the health and wellbeing industry. He is the best-selling author of 7 books, including Eat Chocolate, Drink Alcohol, and Be Lean and Healthy, and the latest, The Wellness Puzzle. For the last 15 years, he has been writing and speaking to audiences and helping them create the mindset that would lead to optimal well-being. Andrew is an attention-seeking mama's boy, middle child, who realised early in life that anything is possible when you have a clear vision, apply the right thinking, and take the right actions for long enough. He believes you can achieve optimal well-being or any success you desire, no matter who you are, what your talent level is, or where you come from, or how unlikely or illogically it may seem. I will now hand this over to Andrew.
Thanks, Ida. Wonderful to be here. Hello, everyone, and good to see you. Or can't see you. Wish I could see you. I wish I was standing on the stage in front of you so I could see faces. But it's always wonderful to be sharing some information. So thanks for the introduction. Yeah, look, I'm pretty passionate about what I'm going to talk to you about, and it's interesting. As I was looking at the title for the talk, "Thriving in Crisis," I think crisis is the wrong. Having, I guess, been spending a bit of time, as we all have, in this period of isolation and lockdown, I don't see it as a crisis anymore. I just see it as a massive opportunity. So I think if we're going to change the title, I'd just call it Thriving, and that's really what I want to talk about today, is thriving. No matter what the situation, no matter where you are in life, today I really want to hopefully give you some ideas that will help you thrive with where you're at. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about me, but yeah, I've got 30 years in the health and wellbeing industry. I was a personal trainer for 15 years. I came out of a professional sporting background, so I played for St Kilda. So if there's any St Kilda supporters, give us a thumbs up, just so I can sort of see if there's anyone on board that's got supporting the Saints. I'm just sort of keeping an eye on questions and stuff. So more than happy to go as we go through today for you to ask questions or make comments. And that's, I guess, I really want to make this as interactive as it can possibly be, which is interesting, isn't it? So yeah, 30 years in health and wellbeing. And then after 15 years of personal training, we really, with no skills or background or qualifications, decided to write my first book. And that was called Eat Chocolate, Drink Alcohol, and Be Lean and Healthy. And now I'm a full-time author, speaker, and love what I do. And I'm incredibly, incredibly passionate about my message to try and help, as Ida mentioned, create a wave of wellness around the world, because I think there's just far too much sickness. There's far too many people not living their best life. There's far too many people who are suffering when I just don't think they need to suffer. And I truly believe that our physical, mental, and emotional well-being is very, very simple. And there's one thing that is 100% responsible for that, and that's our thinking. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. I'm going to talk a lot about mindset today and how the impact of mindset on our choices, on our habits, on our physical well-being. So that's the sort of stuff we're going to talk about. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do some stuff. Hopefully you'll get something out of it. I really hope you do. And I'm going to just come in and out. So you're seeing me at the moment. But I'm going to share my screen for a period, then I'm going to come back. I'm going to try, as I said, make this as interactive as possible. Maybe I'm going to ask you to stand up at some stage, because you've probably been sitting in front of a computer for too many weeks already. So firstly, thanks again for having me, and let's just get this started. So I want to talk about and expand on this idea of joyful longevity. To me, I've been in health and wellbeing for a long time and talking to people about being fitter and leaner and healthier. And I got to a point where I just realized people weren't listening to me. And hopefully the fact that you're watching this webinar means that you're probably doing the right things, and maybe the people that really need to be watching this aren't. And that's pretty common. It's interesting how people make the choices they make particularly around their health and well-being, without realizing that that's impacting every single area of their life. And to me, I'm not going to talk so much about well-being, but I do want to talk about living your best life. And I truly believe that your health and well-being is a foundation upon which a best life will stand, because you lose physical health and well-being, and you may have had examples of this, then you'll see that everything's impacted. So to me, I'm going to give you a definition of a life of joyful longevity. For a start, I believe that means living beyond 100. Now, I don't know how many of you are interested in living beyond 100. Often there's not necessarily a lot of people that want to live beyond 100, because their idea of living beyond 100 is sitting with a tube up your nose, rocking and dribbling. Well, that's not the life I'm talking about. I'm talking about living a life that where you get to 100 and you're active and happy and loving life, and still doing things that you love and making a difference and having the life. Now, this picture that you're looking at right now, that little old lady with the Obamas, she was 106 at that point. And to me, it really intrigued me. What is the key to joyful longevity? And because as a personal trainer or someone in the fitness industry, for me, it had always been around eating well and exercising. And I think that's a pretty common sort of belief, that if you eat well and you exercise regularly, and if you get enough sleep and you don't drink too much and you don't eat too much junk food, blah, 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 you'll live a long, happy, healthy life. Well, that's an interesting concept, but there were some things that always baffled me. For example, my Hungarian great-grandmother lived to 97 years old, and she smoked cigarettes, a carton of cigarettes a week. She drank brandy every day. She ate rich Hungarian food. And I could never work it out. I could never work out why there were people, young people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, that seemed to be doing all the right things, eating well and exercising regularly, were ending up sick or dying at a young age. And I could never work it out until I read a book. And that book taught me the secret to joyful longevity. Plus, I guess, looking at examples, and I'll share some of those examples with you in a sec. But the book talked about a study that was done on 50 people that had lived beyond 100 and actively, happily, purposefully loving their life beyond 100 years old. And they wanted to work out, well, what's the key to this longevity? So they asked them a raft of questions trying to get some sort of common theme. Now, at the end of the study, what they expected to find was, I think what most people would have expected, that they ate well and they exercised regularly and they didn't smoke and didn't drink and they got lots of sleep and they did all the right things. And interestingly, that was very, very, very inconsistent. In fact, many did not have what you would consider a healthy diet or exercise regularly. Many didn't do the things you would expect. 9 out of 10, okay, now this is important, 9 out of 10 said they wake up every day grateful for a new day. They were able to look at the positive side of life. They saw every day as a gift. They were able to forgive and they didn't hold resentment. And to me, now you're sitting there going, yeah, wow, boring, mate, tell me something I don't know. Well, for me, that was a real paradigm shifter, because I honestly thought if you ate well enough, you'd be okay. But that study is basically saying that your emotional state, our state of emotion, our state of gratitude and joy and happiness and forgiveness is the key to longevity. And therefore, maybe the key to, well, I don't know, the opposite of longevity, it's not shortgevity, but, is negative emotion. I was in the US last year and I was launching my book, The Wellness Puzzle, and I was speaking at a hospice and I was speaking to a group of carers, and one of the guys started telling the group about this lady that lived to 113 years old. And, he said her habits were atrocious. She drank, she smoked, she ate rich food. And he said, I could never work it out until he asked her the question. And he asked her one day, he asked her, what is it? What's the secret? How do you possibly live so well and so long based on your lifestyle habits? And she looked at him and she said 5 words. And those 5 words were, I don't worry about anything. Hmm. Now that sounds pretty simplistic, and that sounds a bit naive. And please don't get me wrong. I'm in no way am I trying to diminish what you might be experiencing right now, or the stress that may be happening, or the things that are happening in your life. Please don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is the science is now seems to be showing that our emotional state, our ability to see the good, see the lessons, see the opportunity, seems to be the key to longevity. So I want to explore that a little bit, because this is what I see, and even as a young guy, I forced myself to eat healthy, but I was stressed and anxious, and I think, you can force yourself to eat salad and steamed vegetables and steamed chicken and fish and do all the right things, but if you're doing it with resentment, it's not adding or enhancing your health at all. If anything, that negative emotion is causing all sorts of problems. Our emotional state impacts our immune system. It impacts our DNA. It impacts our brain health. It impacts cortisol activity and free radical activity. So there's emotion in our body. There are physiological responses happening all the time, which are either enhancing our health and leading us to joyful longevity, or they're diminishing our health and leading us to a life that probably is not one that we would want for ourselves, or certainly for the people that we care about. So what I want to do is I want to go through a very simple formula here for tears of joy. What does that mean? Tears of joy. That's my little formula for a life of joyful longevity. And I think it always has to start with what does success mean, or what sort of result are you after in your life? And if you've got a pen and paper with you, and if you don't, your phone or something, then I want to just ask you to write down something that would represent success for you. I mean, what would it be? Would it be a closer family unit? Would it be more success in your career? Would it be to be leaner, fitter, healthier? Would it be to have more energy, just to live? I don't know. But if you can think about success or something that would represent tears of joy, have a think about that. And what I want to tell you is that success is not just going to appear, knock on your front door. It's not just going to, mystically come out of nowhere. That success is always the result of the routines and habits you create. So you will know that if you have habits, like I have habits, some are great habits, some are not so great habits. And the results we get, if you look at yourself in the mirror, you are the end result of the habits and routines you create. If you look at your bank balance, if you look at your relationships, if you look at your career, what you are experiencing is the end results of the routines that you have developed. Okay, so if you're not happy with the results you're getting, then you've got to change the routine. Well, how do you do that? Well, you take a different action. All routine will start with an action. So you've got to, if I want to be fitter and I'm not fit, then I have to start today. I'm going to suggest today's the day to start acting. I've got to start and take action. I've got to go for a walk or a run. I'm going to do it today. I can't wait for tomorrow. I've got to do it today. If I want to be an author, I need to write. And I need to create a habit of writing. If I want to have more energy, I need to start eating breakfast. When? Today. Well, it's late. I know it's late for breakfast, but if you haven't eaten, eat. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's always an action that you take, and that action will often reinforce an emotion. So when you exercise, you feel good, you're more likely to do it again. Therefore, you will, over time, turn that into a habit. And we're going to talk about how do you create a routine towards the end of this session. Now, this is interesting. I've already spoken a lot about emotion. Emotion is the key that will launch action. So when you feel great, when you feel inspired, empowered, grateful, when you feel positive, you're more likely to go for that walk or run. You're more likely to eat breakfast. You're more likely to make that phone call or send a message to someone to tell them that you're grateful for them. You're more likely, when you feel good, to take positive action. So it seems to be that emotion is the key to pretty much everything. I mean, it is actually the crystal ball that will predict the future for you. So when you're feeling anxiety or stress or fear, we're more likely to turn what we're worried about, into reality. Okay, so it's that negative emotion that's going to dictate the life we live, the choices we make, the physiological things that happen within our body. So therefore, if we want a great life, we need to be in a positive emotional state. So how do we do that? It's all about what we choose to focus on. It's all about the thoughts, the beliefs, and perspectives that we spend our time focusing on. Now, thoughts will often come into your head that you can't control. What you can control is what are you focusing on. If the thought comes in that says, I'm not good enough, that's a thought. But if you focus on it, that will lead to a negative emotion, which is going to set off this whole domino principle, and it's not going to lead to success. I can guarantee you that. But when you go, do you know what, I am good enough and I can do that and I'm going to do that, and you focus on that thought, that's going to lead to inspiration and empowerment and excitement and determination, which will lead you into action. The action will, that will lead to the habits and routines that will predictably get you to success. You know, me being an author is not luck. You know, it was started with a thought, I can do it. Me playing professional sport was not luck. It started with a thought that I'm going to be a professional footballer, and the emotion got me into action. The action got me into the routines that allowed me to achieve the result. It certainly wasn't ability, that's for sure. And it wasn't qualifications or skill or any of the things that many people think that it is. So let me just stop sharing for a sec. So, hello, I hope you're okay. So I guess that we're going to go through today. There's going to be 5 mini sections. That's mini section number 1. And I guess if anyone, I just want to open it up as we go for comments or questions. So if anyone has questions that they would like to share, now's the time to pop it in your question box, or maybe what would be something that you'd like to achieve? Can you think of something that, you know, what would be successful for you? What would you like to change in your life? Maybe to help you thrive more, what would be that thing? So have a think about it. Again, you know, understand if you don't want to make comments or contribute, that's okay. But I just want to, I'd certainly open that up to people if they do. Okay, good. All right, well, let's move on to section number 2. Section number 2, and this is very much connected, and where we are, I guess, right now, I believe this could be the most important thing that we do, and that's around perspective. Remember I spoke about emotion is largely linked to our perspective, how we look at something. When we look at something, we look at, and I really don't want to talk about COVID-19 because this is not about COVID-19, this is about living your best life. But if we look at it, there's different ways we can look at COVID-19. We can look at it and go, oh no, it's terrible, I'm stuck at home, or I don't have as much work, my income's dropped, you know, what if I get it? All these thoughts can create, remember, that's going to create negative emotion in our body. And so you can do that, or we can change the filter, or we can change the perspective on how we look at things. And I guarantee you, when you look at things from a positive perspective, then it changes everything. And I can tell you, you know, I've had my moments over the last few weeks. I have to admit, you know, I've lost a lot of work. You know, I'm a speaker. I speak in schools and I speak in front of groups. And within a couple of weeks, many bookings that I had were gone. And so it would have been incredibly easy. And let me just be really brutally honest here. I did suck my thumb and tantrums and, you know, fetal position for a period of time. But then I got up and I had another look. And I thought, okay, what can I do? What can I learn? What can I create? What opportunities are available? And the second I looked at things from that different perspective, I felt more empowered. I felt more inspired. I felt more excited. I got into action, and it's incredible what resulted from that. I mean, this talk that I'm doing right now has resulted from that, and many others online stuff that I'm doing resulted from that. So it's been incredible. So we're going to do a little exercise. This section is about you doing a bit of work. So if you've got a pen and paper, or as I said, type it into your phone, I'm going to show you 4 images. And all I want you to do, when you see the image, I want to write down, what do you see? The first thing you see, okay? Or the first perspective. That's all. I don't want you to think it. first perspective, that's the most important one, because that's the one, our first perspective, when we look at a situation, the way we react to that situation will dictate lots of things. Okay, so first one, what do you see? Don't overthink it. Have a look at it. What do you see? Write it down. We're going to come back and look at all these again, but for right now, I just want you to, it's just about your perspective. Okay, next one. Write down. What do you see? I'll give you a minute or 30 seconds. Write something down. When you look at those images, what is that? What comes into your mind? What's the picture? What is the vision? What's the perspective you're seeing? Okay, what about that image? What do you see? And last one. What do you see? So if you took part in that little exercise, a fun little exercise, well, I don't know. That's a bit of an assumption, is it may not have been a fun exercise at all. It may have created stress for you. It may have created worry for you. It might have hit home for you. You know, any of those things, as they have for me. But let's just have a look. Now, obviously, the first one is just an exercise in perspective. Now, you will either have, when you first looked at that, you'll either have seen a duck or a rabbit. Okay. Now, the question is, who's right and who's wrong? Well, no one. It's just what you've got to understand is, the first time you look at something, you will see it through your own filter. And everyone that's on this call at the moment is looking at it and listening to what I'm saying through their own filter. So I hope some of you are going, yep, this makes sense. I'm excited. I'm inspired. I'm good enough. I can do it. Some of you might be going, this guy's full of shit. You know, this guy's full of it. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. It's all perspective. Okay. So, second one. Now, what a lot of people look at there is nagging, right? And I don't know about you, but I've been a naggee and a nagger, that's for sure. And it's neither of those is enjoyable. But when someone is nagging you or criticizing you, you can look at that and go, well, that's horrible. That's, you know, what's wrong with them, or what's wrong with me? Or the perspective is this: if someone's nagging you, maybe you could be grateful they care enough to say anything, because if they didn't care about you, they wouldn't nag. They would just leave it alone. You know, maybe the perspective you can look at, if someone's nagging you to do something, you could think about how unpleasant or irritating it must be for them to have to nag you about it, and the fact that you're not doing something that you said you would do. So there's always a different perspective. So this situation could lead to gratitude, but it's all about perspective. What about that? I mean, a lot of people will look at that and say, well, you've lost money down the drain. Well, let me tell you, you know, is it a loss of money again, or is it an opportunity? I can tell you one experience I had. I owned a cafe just before I wrote my first book. In fact, this was the trigger that led me to write my first book. I lost a lot of money in a cafe. I lost close to $100,000 in a cafe. And at the time, I can tell you, I did not feel like a blessing. But if not, I can now look retrospectively, and it helps me now look at things with a different perspective, because that money I lost. And I remember sitting there with my head in my hands thinking, how am I going to get my message out to the world? That's why I bought the cafe, to try and provide good food and educate people. And it failed miserably. And I'm sitting there, what am I going to do now? And that's when the idea for a book came into my head. Now, I just don't know if I was in that situation, if that cafe hadn't failed, would I have written my first book? And would that have put me on the path that I'm on today? And I can tell you that $100,000 that seemingly went down the sink actually is the best investment that I've ever made, because I've made way more than $100,000 over the last 15 years, and that losing that money was the trigger that led me to writing my book. So again, can you see, face value, we can look at things from a different perspective. And the final one, you know, you look at that and go, maybe you could look at that and say, oh, I lost job or lost income, or what do I do now? Or you can look at it and go, great, opportunity to spend more time with family, opportunity to create, find a better job, opportunity to build, start a business, opportunity to do something wonderful, to travel, all the things that can open depending on how you look at it. So perspective is incredible, because how you look at something, how you perceive it, will immediately impact your emotional state. Remember, our emotions are the key to joyful longevity, the actions that we take. Okay, so stopping sharing again. I see there's one question there. And that's a really, really good question. So the question from Diana is, how do you change the subconscious part of us that is doing what we do unconsciously? That's an incredibly good question. I'm going to answer that. I have a health goal, exercise and eat well all week, but Friday comes and I revert back to old habits and undo good things by drinking a bottle of wine. Well, firstly, Diana, join the club. You know, none of us are perfect, and we all have deep down unconscious beliefs, and it just takes, number one, it takes an ability to really stop when you're feeling any sort of negative emotion, and often anxiety or fear or stress is the result of a negative emotion. You may not understand where it comes from, but it's really worthwhile stopping, bringing that emotion up and going, where's it coming from? Digging a little bit deeper. Because if you can start to uncover what that unconscious habit or thought is, then you can start fighting it with repetition. The best way to change a subconscious belief is through affirmation, through action. So telling yourself, I'm good enough. You know, with your particular situation, you might say, I am a healthy person. I make great choices every day. I'm consistently. And if you do that often enough, and you start reading books that reinforce that, and you associate with people that encourage you over time, and I'm going to introduce you to a 63-day challenge at the end of this. Over a 63-day process, you will start to change those unconscious beliefs, and you'll turn them into beliefs that are going to help you achieve that goal. Now, I hope that answered your question. Obviously, I don't have a lot of time to go into a lot more detail, but I'm more than happy to, we can have a conversation outside of the webinar. But thanks for the question, Diana. That was wonderful. Okay. So let's move on to the next part, unless there's any other questions from anyone. You're doing good, guys. You're doing good. Okay. So let's talk about wellness. Let's talk about immunity. Let's talk about, I mean, one of the things right now more than ever, and you know, again, right now, but this should be happening. I hope this should be happening anyway, but there's no better time than now to start really strengthening your immune system, because if you've got a strong immune system, you're safe. I mean, that's what immunity is. It's effectively means you're protected. Now, if you ever watched Survivor, you'll know that the immunity idol is what you want, because when you've got that immunity idol, you're untouchable, you're protected. So building your own immunity will protect you from disease, from virus, from all sorts of stuff if you've got a strong immune system. So I'm going to just share very quickly, and again, I don't have the time to go into real in-depth detail here, but I do want to share 7 things to build a strong immune system. The first one is laughter and gratitude. And again, remember I said our emotional state will strengthen our immune system or destroy it. Laughter, gratitude, positive emotion will strengthen your immune system. Negative emotions such as anxiety that you hold on to, anxiety, stress, fear, resentment, actually shuts down your immune system. So the first and foremost thing to do is all the things we've already spoken about around perspective and looking at the positive and finding the things to laugh about. Laughter is a very powerful medicine. Number 2, with your nutrition, find make sure every day, you're eating from each of the 5 different coloured food groups. Now, I'm not talking about in packets. I'm not saying, well, Twisties, that's yellow. And, I'm not talking about that at all. Or Coke, that's red. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fruits and vegetables. If you can eat 5 to 8 serves of fruit and vegetables a day and include fruits and vegetables from each of the 5 throughout the day, each of those 5 colours, that's going to be an incredibly positive way for you to make sure your body's got the nutrients it needs to strengthen your immune system. The third thing is look after your gut, because 75% of our immune system is actually in our gut. And our gut is determined by the bacteria. Good bacteria strengthens the immune system. The dangerous bacteria, which is the result of stress, medication, processed food primarily. So when you're eating lots of good, again, the same fruits and vegetables and lots of omega-3 fish and good quality probiotic into your gut is going to really help you have a strong gut health and a very strong immune system. Adding to that, my suggestion would be find a very natural, good quality supplement, vitamin, mineral, food supplement, not a processed supplement, something that's made from real plants. And that's not easy to find, but it's out there. You can do it. And those supplements will add to your immune system, because these days the foods we eat don't necessarily have the nutrients that they should have. Reducing toxicity in our body. Well, there's lots of ways to do that. Our thinking is the first place to do it, because when there's negative thoughts, you're creating toxins in your body. So the 2 simplest ways to reduce toxicity, certainly in your home, is purifying your air and purifying your water. There's lots of ways to do the air. A good quality purifier, plants, salt lamps, all these things will start to purify the air in your home. A water filter or purifier is, I believe, essential. One of the best ways to get rid of toxins is drinking water, lots of water. But if it's tap water, it's actually putting toxins into your body. So it needs to be purified water. Number 6, resistance, exercise, resistance. Some push-ups or stretching or some, squats or lunges. Just maybe a couple of times a week for 5 to 10 minutes. Just start to add some resistance training in there. That's a great way to strengthen your immune system. And quality sleep. And, obviously it makes sense, doesn't it? But there's lots of ways you can increase your sleep. In fact, all of those things I've just spoken about will increase your sleep. Certainly focusing on the positives and being able to change your perspective is a wonderful way to increase your quality of your sleep and certainly your immune system. Now, I know I've gone through that quite quickly, but is there anyone got any other questions? What I want to get you to do right now is just stand up. Just stand up. If you're going to see my belly button, and just have a stretch. Yep. Just stand up for a sec. Just have a stretch. Just move a little bit. Wiggle around. Then have a seat. Good. Okay. How are we going? Everyone okay? Good one. All right. Let's keep moving along. Okay. I truly believe now is a wonderful time. Now is a wonderful time. I've spoken to lots of people about, a lot of things, and many people are telling me, it's a bad time to do this because I can't do that, and, I need, and whatever. People are making reasons not to be active, or people are giving us reasons not to start something or do something. But I truly believe where we're at right now, if we can, while we're in lockdown, while we're in isolation, this is what I see, wonderful opportunity to create things that will bless your life forever, habits that will that you'll carry with you forever. Now is the time. Now is not the time to put it off. Now is not the time to procrastinate. Now's the time to do the things, because we don't know how long we're going to be in isolation for. I'm hoping that it's not going to be too long. But why not use this time to do things, to create things, to develop habits? I spoke in the last section about immune system. Wow, can you imagine if you can create some habits around your health and well-being that you create now? They're going to actually benefit you for the rest of your life. They're going to benefit your families. They're going to benefit the people you care about. There's an incredible ripple effect that's going to happen when you start doing things now. Okay, so I'm going to touch on a few things. I think now's the perfect time. Now, obviously not all of these things, but my goal is to try and trigger within you something. You go, yeah, now's the time. Now's the time to do that. So now's the time to do something for you. Now's the time to think about yourself and think about, what do I want? How do I want to live? Who do I want to be? Start to think about how do I want to, the person I want to create. And give yourself some time, because in the busyness of life, when we're out and about and running here and there to work and from work and out and dropping kids off and all the stuff we do, often we forget about us. The most important person here is you. You can't help anyone if you don't help you. So now is the perfect time to start doing something for you. Now's the time to think about who you love. Who do you love the most? What do you love the most? Now's the time to get really, really clear, because the things you're going to do as of now, after this session and beyond, is not just impacting you. Every choice you make, everything you do is going to have a ripple effect and impact the people that you care about the most. Who are those people that you love, and how do you want them to live their life? Well, if you're a parent, you'll probably know that your kids don't listen. They do what you do. So they're watching. So what example are you setting? What are you doing that you want them to watch and then to do for themselves? So what is it you love? What things do you love to do? Wow, now's the time to get good at them, to learn more, to really focus on those things. Wow, what an amazing opportunity. Now's the time to really start working on your self-belief. Diane, we talked about, your unconscious habits. Now's the time to change that belief. There's a wonderful lady, I can't remember her name now, but she talks about just this simple belief that I'm enough. I'm enough. Just Marissa Peer. You can Google her. She's got some great stuff, but she talks about, I am enough. I'm good enough. I'm strong enough. I'm smart enough. And that belief, when you start affirming it and affirming it and affirming it now, every day, put signs up in your bathroom, on your fridge, in the toilet, put these signs up and around, I'm good enough. I can do that. I am good enough. And that belief, what you work on, because you're at home so much and you're looking at these things all the time, you're building this belief in yourself that you will take with you forever. Belief is critical, because we only ever achieve in life what we believe. And you would have heard the quote a million times, whether you believe you can or believe you can't, either way you are right. You will only ever achieve what you believe you can. And it's got zero to do with ability. It's got everything to do with belief. Family time. Now's the time. Now's the time to build stronger relationships with your family and to spend more time with your kids, and to, if you don't have kids, if you're on your own, just to spend more time, connecting and talking to people that you care about. Now's the time to do it, because what you create now is going to bring you joy and love and fulfillment forever. Building a vision. Now's the time. If you haven't already sat down and thought about your life beyond this, how do you want to live? Where do you want to live? What do you want to be doing? How do you want to look and feel? What sort of income do you want to be making? Creating a vision for your life, that I think now's the time to do it. Get a vision board. Start putting pictures up on that vision board. Start putting statements and quotes and affirmations, and start to look at it every day. Because again, what you look at and focus on, you will move towards. So, and that vision will help build strong, positive emotional states, which will get you into action, which will help you create better habits, which will lead you to actually achieve that vision. Now's the time. Now's the time to focus on your well-being. I've already spoken about that. Now's the time to connect with people that you care about, to meet new people. Wow. Sitting on your computer, I can tell you I'm meeting lots of people all around the world. There's incredible people all around the world that I now have that access to because of the internet, because of the many different social media platforms. Now's a wonderful time to connect personally, business-wise, learn more. Incredible opportunity right now. Now's the time. Now's the time to give. There are people that are in need. And I'm not saying you have to give money. You might. I've got this most inspiring story of a lady, a friend of mine, who lost a lot of income over the last few weeks. She's a personal trainer. Clearly, a lot of her work dried up. All of a sudden, she found herself and her two daughters in a financial hole. Well, somewhere, a miracle happened for her. I mean, she a Christian, she prayed for it, and some money appeared on her doorstep. Now, she was in need, but she knew someone that was in a greater need. She gave that money. She gave that money to someone else. You know, what can you give? Encouragement, support. Who can you help? Wow, it's a positive and powerful emotion and feeling when you help someone. Now's the time to give. Now's the time to write. I mean, what a great time to write your book. What a great time to write a blog. What a great time to write anything. Fantastic way to get emotion out of your body, positive, negative. Share your writing. It's a wonderful time to do that. Now's a great time to learn, and I know there's a lot of people have been on a very steep learning curve around technology. You know, a lot of you some of you never heard of Zoom before this, but now you've learned how to use Zoom. You learn all this stuff. Now's the time to learn how to do things. I've just started a podcast, you know, because I thought, well, now's the time. I've got the time I need to learn, and I did, and it's really, really exciting. Now's the time to create. You know, if you're a creative person, now's the time to paint. Now's the time to learn your instrument. Now's the time to do your art, to sculpt, whatever it might be. Now's the time to create the things that you want. Certainly a time to slow down. Certainly a time to say, okay, stop, breathe, reflect, spend some time every day just slowing down. Look, what a beautiful day we have today, and making the most and really taking notice of this beautiful world we live in. Now's definitely the time to laugh. In fact, it's always the time to laugh. And now is a great time to diversify. Now's a wonderful time to look at online programs, to look at businesses, online businesses. Now's the time to, as I said, write your book and do things to generate another source of income. Now's a great time. Now, do you know, once this is over, do you know the best time to do all those things? It'll be now then. In a month, in a year, it's always now. There's never going to be a better time than right now. But I just want to encourage you, and I hope this is encouraging you to think, okay, what is it for me that I will do now? I want to just ask you all to do something. I've got another question which I'll get to. I want to ask you to pick up your phone and right now send a message to someone that you would like to tell them how grateful you are for them or that you love them. Just do it now. Just pick up your phone, think of someone that you're really grateful for and send them a message. Let me know if you've done it. I'd love to know if you've done it. Thanks, Jenny, for your comment. So yeah, and then I want to know, once you've sent that message, just let me know, how does it feel? How does that feel once you've sent the message and it's gone to someone? Say, look, thank you. You mean so much to me, or what you did for me, I'm incredibly grateful for. Thank you so much. I mean, to me, it feels, I love doing things for people. It feeds me. It really feeds me, as it will for you. So the gift of giving, we think the gift of giving is for the other person. It's actually for us. So good on you, Lauren. Lauren sent her message and she's feeling amazing. So thanks for sharing that. Good on you, Ellie. Ellie felt good and gave her a boost. That's wonderful. Thank you guys for sharing. I really appreciate that. Okay, we're now going to come into the last little section of the day. Okay, to wrap this up, I'm going to challenge you. Now, you will receive, you may have already got an email from Ida. Will send out an email which will have a 63-day tracking sheet. But now, from a neuroscience point of view, if you want to change something in your life permanently, I'm not saying, try it for a couple of days, because we all know what happens, don't we, when we set a New Year's resolution and we all say, yep, I'm going to change, that's it, and you go bull at a gate and you last 2 days, 3 days, then you give up and you tell yourself you're not good enough, you can't do it. That's because you haven't gone long enough to create a strong neural pathway in the brain. A habit is physiology. It's a neural pathway in the brain. What is habitual? If you think about the things for you that are 100% unconsciously habitual, think about brushing your teeth. Now, I'm pretty sure all of you brush your teeth. And if you don't brush your teeth, I'm grateful that this is a video and I can't smell your breath. But we all brush our teeth. Now, I don't know about you, but often I'm standing in the bathroom and I'm brushing my teeth, and I can't even remember walking into the bathroom and putting paste on the toothbrush. I'm just going, how did I get here? Because it's an unconscious habit. Often, if you've been driving home from, say, work for many, many years the same way, you'll drive into your driveway, you'll park, you'll turn off and then all of a sudden you'll come back into a conscious state and go, I can't remember even driving home. It's so wired into your subconscious, that neural pathway is so strong that you don't have to be conscious about it. Did you know breathing is just a habit? That's all breathing is. And it's an unconscious habit. Isn't that lucky? Imagine if you had to consciously take every single breath. You wouldn't get a lot of sleep. So the question then is, how do we take a positive action, something that we know we need to do, and turn it into that unconscious neural pathway? Well, this is what you do. You spend 21 days to create it. Now, 21 days won't strengthen it, okay? 21 days without missing it. Another 21 days will strengthen that habit so that other habits can't overpower it, okay? So that the old conditioning, if it's not strengthened, they will come back and overpower it. And it takes that final 21 days to turn it into a strong unconscious habit that will be there forever. Forever. Okay? Now, if you want forever change, if you want permanent change, it doesn't happen by chance. It doesn't happen by luck. It will happen through deliberate choices every single day. Now, this is what I'm going to challenge you. You're going to get access to this if you want it. If you don't, that's up to you. You'll get this sheet. At the top of it, you want to write in what's important to you. Why would you want to start to make some change? So, to be a positive example to my children, to be around for my grandchildren, could be that. There could be a range of different things. That's up to you. Now, I'm going to show you 5 things, but all I'm going to suggest is you choose 1 or 2. That's it. Simple habits, simple actions. For example, look in every situation, look for the good, the lesson, or the opportunity. That's it. Now, it might be eat breakfast or eat something within 15 minutes of getting up. Maybe that's the simple action you want to turn into a habit. It might be reading 15 minutes of an inspirational book. It could be do 10,000 steps a day. It could be turning off the TV, the news, which is, let me tell you, is a good idea, and walk, talk, play with your family. Now, again, I'm suggesting you don't choose 5 things because I think 5 is too many. 1 or 2. 1 or 2. And then what you do is every day you just look at the action that you've suggested, and once you've done it, you tick the box. Okay? Tick the box. Just don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about next week. Just worry about today. Just worry about ticking the box, taking the action, and winning the day. Just win the day. This is so simple one day at a time. If you think 63 days, you go, oh, how am I ever going to do 63 days? You won't. But if you think I could just win today, I've just got to drink some water today. I've just got to send a positive message out just today. I've got to make that phone call today. And then once you've done it, you tick the box and you feel like a winner. You have won the day. That's the goal for the day. And then you worry about tomorrow when it comes. Now, if you can do that for 21 days, you've got a habit. If you can really persist, even though your body and your mind is trying to take you back to old habits, if you can persist for another 21 days, you've got a strong habit. And if you can keep going for 63 days, you'll change your life forever. That one habit, one thing will have a ripple effect. I'm going to tell you one quick little story here about a lady that I worked with last year. I worked in an organization. We did the 63-day challenge, and her thing was to eat breakfast. That's it. I want to eat a healthy breakfast every day. That was the one thing, the only one thing she said. And she did it for 63 days. And when I asked her, what did you get from it? What were the benefits you got from that? She said, well, I feel better, which I expected. She said, I've got more energy, I expected. She said, dropped 2 dress sizes. I thought, okay, well, that's impressive. But then the next thing was the most powerful for me. She said, my teenage son, who normally would run out the door without eating anything, started to join me and having a healthy breakfast. Then my husband started to join us. So now, not only is she feeling better, more energy, lost 2 dress sizes, now her son and husband are both eating breakfast. And now, what's the ripple effect of that one tiny, seemingly significant change that she's made in her life, and how many people apart from her are going to be impacted? Your thoughts, your words, and your actions will ripple. Be very, very conscious of what you're thinking. Be very conscious of what you're saying. Be incredibly conscious of what you're doing, because it's not just you that it's impacting. It's impacting many, many, many lives. I'm going to stop sharing in a sec, and we can have some conversation, just checking the time. But I just want to encourage you. I would love to talk to you if you want to talk to me. I have books. If The Wellness Puzzle would probably be the one I would recommend the most. If you want to write a book, I've got a book called Accidental Author. You can jump on my website, andrewjobling.com.au. I've got blogs, I've got podcasts that I've just started, the Wellness Puzzle podcast. Jump on and look for that and subscribe if you feel like you need help or support with anything. My contact details are there, but Ida will, if you're interested in chatting to me, you can do it through my website, you can do it through Ida. I would love to have a conversation with you at any stage. So let's just stop sharing. Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate the comment. I'm glad you're getting some value out of this. So I'm pretty much done. I don't know if does anyone want to share something? I mean, we've still got a couple of minutes to go. Does anyone want to share some experiences that they've had over this particular time and positives? What have you done? What have you achieved? What have you thought? How have you done things differently? How have you been able to look at things from a different perspective? How have you been able to create some good habits with family or with your health or with learning new things? I think it would be good for us to share. Is there anyone that would like to just type something into the comment section, and I'd love to read it, and I'd certainly love to share it. And Ida, do you want to come back onto the turn your audio on?
Thank you, Andrew. That was a fantastic presentation, quite informative, and I'm sure a few of our members will walk away with some useful tips and ideas. So thank you very much for that.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Well, it doesn't look like there's any other comments at the moment. But as I said, you're more than welcome to contact me. My email is andrew@andrewjobling.com.au. And on my website, all my contact details are there. My phone number's there. I'm not hiding from anyone. I'd love to talk to you, help you in any way that I can. So, Ida, thank you for the opportunity to speak to these guys. I hope it's made a difference, and look forward to hearing your wonderful stories.
Thank you, Andrew. Now, tomorrow, everyone that has participated, you will receive a copy of the recording. And again, I will send you the 63-day task sheet. So you guys can have that on hand again. So basically, on behalf of Andrew and APA, I would like to thank you all for joining us today. And I hope you all have a great afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.